Douglas Cooling and Heating, serving the Birmingham area for 38 years. 988-3706. That's Douglas.
I'm James Spann. This is the morning edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Thursday, the 28th day of July. Kind of routine summer weather for Alabama for a bit, but just to the south, a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's get in there and take a look at the skycam shots early this morning at the ridiculous hour of 5 o'clock. First off, the view coming from downtown Jasper from the top of the King Building. The sky there is mostly clear. There's the Gadsden Skycam up in Etowah County in northeast Alabama. And from Auburn, the Skycam in Lee County. There's our water vapor satellite imagery this morning. Got the ridging in place across the southern states, and it's kind of the ring of fire effect, if you will. Up on the northern part of the heat bubble, you've got a number of convective masses coming across parts of the plain states, moving into the Great Lakes. And down below the heat ridge, you've got the tropical action, Tropical Storm Don down there, sitting off the northern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. Here's a look at highs around the nation yesterday, and again, it's just amazing to see those heat numbers out there across the southern plain states. Looks like the heat peaked at about 110 degrees in parts of Oklahoma and Kansas. That's just tough. And again, Texas is baking, and we're optimistic that Don, the tropical storm, will bring some beneficial rain to parts of the Lone Star State this weekend. Not all of the state. That's a huge state, of course, but some parts of Texas will certainly see some beneficial rain, and that's a good thing. There is a tropical storm watch in effect for the Texas coast from just below Galveston all the way south down to the mouth of the Rio Grande. Up north, we got flash flood watches in effect for cities like Chicago and Grand Rapids. Convective outlooks for today got the standard slight risk of severe weather on top of the heat bubble from Nebraska over to Detroit and Cleveland. Tomorrow, a couple of slight risks, well, to the north of here, and on day 3, which is Saturday, a slight risk again for the upper Midwest. There's the old QPF chart. This is the expected rain for the next 5 days, and certainly it's that time where, this graphic is not all that useful for us. This is through Monday evening of next week at 7 o'clock, and if you smooth it out, rain amounts of 1/2 to 1 inch, but again, we all know we can get that in just 30 minutes from one of these strong summer thunderstorms if one develops over your neighborhood. Other than Don, the tropics are pretty quiet, considering the fact that August begins Monday of next week. We've got very quiet rest of the Atlantic Basin. A lot of that is because of dry air. But we'll talk about Don. There's the tropical storm this morning. Maximum sustained. It doesn't look organized at all, by the way. In fact, it looks less organized now than it did last night. The sustained winds are barely at tropical storm strength, 40 miles per hour. Moving to the west-northwest at 10. That little convective cluster you see north of the Yucatan, that's the center of Don, not that big mass that's east of the Yucatan. Modeling has shifted a bit south with the past couple of runs. Models are clustered now down there really near or just below Corpus Christi, having it coming in about 48 hours. That would suggest perhaps late tomorrow night, around midnight Central Time, for a landfall. And again, the intensity schemes, most of the models keep it as a tropical storm, and I think that certainly is the case. The Hurricane Center keeps it as a tropical storm as well, coming into the lower Texas coast just after midnight tomorrow night and dissipating over the Rio Grande. And again, for the southern half of Texas, this should bring some very welcome, beneficial rain. Let me tell you, I do the weather out there in some of the stations across the Rio Grande Valley, and it's been tough this summer. So I get the idea that the positives will outweigh the negatives with Tropical Storm Don, and of course, no impact on our coast at all here or the state of Alabama. We'll check modeling. This is the OZGFS, valid at 7 o'clock this evening. 594 Ridge centered a little north and east of here. It's going to be hot for cities like Raleigh and Columbia, South Carolina today, Atlanta. And here it'll be pretty toasty, but we're thinking low 90s. The worst of the heat should be north, and we note the NAM has only got us at 89 today. With an increase in moisture, there should be an increase in the coverage of showers and storms. as we are just on the lower periphery of that heat bubble. So there could maybe a strong storm in spots this afternoon. Tomorrow, the same thing. And again, there's a bit of discrepancy. This is the GFS, and it looks relatively dry. The NAM, I should point out, is much wetter. The NAM has a high of 89 with a good round of showers and storms. The GFS has 95 with widely scattered showers. I think the NAM is closer to the truth. It has performed much better this season. There's Saturday starting off the weekend, and again, I don't see any reason to depart from the standard summer forecast. Partly sunny, hot, steamy, a few spots getting a storm. The GFS is at 98, the NAM is at 92. The truth is probably somewhere in between, but I think the NAM is closer to the truth. We'll say low to mid-90s, and the same thing on Sunday. Again, just typical dog day weather. Hot, steamy, a storm around in a few spots in the afternoon. Monday of next week, got the 594 heights a little west of here. We have a northerly flow aloft, and that looks fairly wet all of a sudden with scattered to numerous showers and storms. But the one thing about the GFS, it has been very consistent toward a drying trend over the middle of next week. Look at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Here's the upper look. Upper high stretched out across the deep south, and again down below that looks kind of hot and dry. And of course, it's printing upper 90s, and I think mid 90s would be more like it. But again, we'll kind of mention just isolated showers for the middle of next week and roll with this since the model's been so consistent. We'll check the end of the forecast August 12th. Look at that trough over the east. Now, if that's right, that just might try and bring down cooler's not the right word in August, but air that maybe is not quite as hot. But again, we'll see. Fronts and boundaries do not visit Alabama that often in August. They can, but not a lot. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video here by 3:30 or so today. And if you're local to us, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 in Birmingham at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.